So when you feed your body well, you are doing such a world of good that you don't even think about. I think we get so caught up in, is this a good food? Is this a bad food? Well, if it's a good food, like the broccoli, if I eat the broccoli, I am good. I get a halo. I was good today, right? If you don't do that, if you decide all I want to eat today is chocolate, even if it's dark, at the highest percent cocoa you can tolerate, that's not so healthy for you either, but you feel sort of virtuous. You're like, well, at least it wasn't French fries, right? So we kind of have this mind game of, we play with our food. And the bottom line is your body needs about 41 different nutrients every single day to function. And we are well beyond the place of looking at deficiencies. I mean, we're not, it's interesting, rickets rickets, it's a vitamin D deficiency. We've seen that resurface again. Vitamin C, scurvy, we don't see that too often anymore. So we've kind of moved beyond that. And what we need to look at is how are you fueling your body so that your body can perform the way it is built to perform, which is 100% high octane every single day. To underscore wherever you are in that cancer continuum with whatever type of cancer you're struggling with, the better you can support yourself to become physically resilient, you can improve your tolerance for treatment, your tolerance for medication. But then that comes to the question of, okay, so what food should I be eating? What should I not be eating, first of all, because it might cause my cancer, or it might cause another type of cancer, or it might make my cancer get worse. And the flip side of that's what's protective. We don't have any single perfect way of categorizing that evidence on food and nutrition yet, which I know you're all like, okay, I'm not listening, I'm done, goodbye. But here's why I want you to stay with me. I'm going to show you a very brief overview of why it's such a challenge for researchers as well as myself to give such concrete recommendations and say, if you do this, you will get that. So people eat food, not nutrients. So we were just talking about it, and we've moved beyond the problem of having scurvy and all those sorts of things. But you'll see in the social media and out there in the lay person of nutrition world, eat more vitamin A, it'll do this. Eat more vitamin D, it'll do that. Eat more of this phytonutrient, it will do that. And there is legitimacy to those messages. Yet we, again, don't sit down and say, I'm going to have a bowl of calcium. You sit down and say, I'm going to have a bowl of ice cream, or I'm going to have a bowl of yogurt, right? So because we eat food, there's something called synergy between all of those nutrients in the food that work in your body in a way that we can't always replicate in supplements or always tease out in the laboratory. And the synergy of those nutrients, it's not only that. If you think about an apple, what is an apple? It is vitamin C, it's something called quercetin, which is a phytochemical, there's fiber, there are nutrients we don't even know about yet. That synergistic connection and the way it works in your body is what confers health, not just the vitamin C or the fiber in the apple. Does that make sense? So that makes it a little more complicated.
My clients come in knowing a lot, but what they find is that they're overwhelmed, and especially with nutritional information, there's so much conflicting information. And so I think what they need to realize is that health is on a continuum. There isn't just disease, and then there isn't just healthy. There's also this level of wellness on the other side. And based on where they are with their health, that's going to determine what they need nutritionally wise. How is their digestive health? How is their blood sugar health? And understanding those numbers and that state is really important. And then also understanding that nutrition is actually very simple. We've made it very complicated because food companies come out with new products all the time, but real food never really changes. And so one of my biggest challenges, and what I try to get my clients to understand, is that actually it's very simple. We just need to eat food the way that, what our great-great-grandmothers and grandfathers ate. But I actually find that they need to understand that. And those are the questions that they come in with, all this conflicting information. And how do they make what's relevant for them? How do they understand what's relevant for them?
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. And I also think other important questions to ask are, what's important to do first? Like, what are the things that I need to be thinking about early? And we've been talking about food a lot, and that is something, the health of our GI tract, the health of our ability to absorb our nutrition, and of course what we're putting into ourselves. That is a great place to start for some of the lifestyle changes, some of the big picture. I think also something that you've said, which I really resonate with, is that there is this larger picture. When we're thinking about food, it's like our relationship with ourself.
Yes.
And so we're thinking about food, but it's expressing how we're doing and how we feel and our own self-esteem, and also it's bringing these other sometimes deeper emotional issues, but also just where we are spiritually in our life. It kind of brings it forward. Yeah, so that's an opportunity to engage with that for our health on every level, mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that you need to address all three. And I think a lot of times we forget about the body, actually. I think a lot of psychology and health has been focused on just our thoughts, but so much of our moods and our energy are generated in the body. And we've kind of neglected that as override it with Starbucks and no sleep. And but and you need to do all three, because you touched on the most important piece, our self-worth. And we have to expect more.
Well, one thing that we can help with is since we're working at the level of mind, body, and spirit, not just at the physical level, seeing that there's a problem, trying to fix it, trying to prevent something, and just focusing on the illness or disease, we're really focusing on you as a whole person. So that's actually a completely different focus. So again, one way that we can bring forward a sort of a different conversation is we are interested in how you've been affected and what your personal goals are, right? So we can always orient things towards you and towards what's important to you, and also work with you individually when it comes to ways you've tried to be healthy. So what I would offer, and what most integrative practitioners offer, is someone who's in both worlds. So we understand what the oncologist is saying. We understand what you're saying as a patient. We understand the medical terminology, the pathology, and the history, and all the other comorbidities. But we also have our feet firmly planted in your camp, in your needs, your goals, and also with any other practitioners you might be working with, because we understand those practitioners. They're not alien to us. So if you're using other modalities, or you're working with an integrative nutritionist, we're not going to see that as something that is foreign and alien and something to be avoided, or something to. So we actually would embrace all of the other work that you're doing, and we can actually really form a team together, and also figure out what's important and help that person to manage their energy, manage their goals at the right timeline. And there's a tremendous amount that can be done, especially working towards reducing inflammation if we work together. And that has huge implications for preventing a secondary recurrence of cancer, and also working with appearance, working with all the personal goals put forward by the patient.
Yeah, and I think that's such an important piece that you bring up, because what I hear you're describing is helping someone with the emotional stress. I know that at least when I was, going through cancer treatment, the focus was on the physical aspect, but there was this huge you needed an emotional outlet. So I think having that team and that partner, and that's also focused on you as an individual versus just the disease, is so important. I think another thing that's really important is, 70% of the immune system is in the digestive tract. And so by changing your diet, you can really keep up your immunity so that your treatments can stay on course. You're not prone to other infections. I always focus on digestion and blood sugar, because blood sugar really helps people maintain their energy levels, their moods, as well as the digestive tract too. But I think, again, it really focuses on the quality of your life, which in effect will extend the quantity as well.
I think it would also be fair to say, like when we think about integrative medicine, there are extra disciplines that are brought in that are not available in a conventional approach. So mind-body medicine is an important discipline. We talked about mindfulness, and actually mindfulness has a profound effect on the immune system. And of course the immune system is surveilling to basically eliminate potentially cancerous cells and recurrence of cancer. So it's really important to keep ourselves healthy and to use these approaches like mind-body medicine. I also use herbal supplements and other types of vitamin and mineral supplements, and I like to make sure those are always personalized to the person's blood and intracellular testing. I don't want to give someone something that they don't need. But there's lots of different areas. There's areas of energy medicine, like acupuncture. There's also alternative medical systems, like Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine, which is a whole system, not just acupuncture itself. And there's hands-on medicine, which is very important for physical alignment, which we're still trying to understand. How does that play a role in cancer recovery?
Yeah, and I think what you described is so wonderful, is that you get a customized approach. It's not just this, let's give you all of this. It's where are you as an individual and your, as you said, your individual goals, which is, that's where medicine's going, personalized medicine. And the integrative approach can give you that. I think the first thing is that Rome wasn't built in a day. And when people try to go from one extreme to the other, they don't feel better at first. And it's such a stress on them that they give up. And, you know, disease doesn't happen overnight. Wellness doesn't happen overnight. And so taking steps, I really encourage my clients, every 2 weeks, try a new habit. Focus on how if you're making dietary changes, when you add greens into your diet, oh, they feel more energy. Wonderful. Focus on that, not whether they're being good or bad. But then in 2 weeks, you're going to have more energy to try maybe to cut back on sugar. But take it in steps and really get support, because unfortunately, our society isn't set up for health. So that's where I think that's where I would probably start.
And also it's really helpful to partner with someone else. If you're making diet changes or you're exercising more, or you're also trying to just make any type of change toward your own health, partnering or speaking with a family member, also a friend. There's great literature that shows that we are much more successful when we collaborate and when we partner with each other and we find a friend and we even just express out loud, I'm really trying to do this, I want this, and here are some of my obstacles, maybe you can help me encounter them differently when they come up.
Yeah, and I like that you brought up exercise, because I think a lot of people, when they think of exercise, they think it has to be hard, that they have to hate it, and they have to go to a gym. And that perpetuates this myth that living a healthy lifestyle takes discipline and isn't fun, when actually, when you feel well, it's one of the greatest freedoms that you have. And I think changing exercise to the word movement and finding how you actually enjoy it. Think back to just getting out in nature or dancing. You don't have to have a heart rate monitor. You don't have to be logging it. Just focusing on how much more alive you feel after movement, I think, is such an important piece.
Right, and also having fun is an important lifestyle change, having more fun. That's slowing down, but it could be fun cooking. It could be fun with movement. It could be there's different ways to incorporate that. And that's actually a basic human need. And it usually is sort of way down towards the end, but it's absolutely essential for every day.